the author of Gitanjali, and it's a profoundly sensitive, fresh, and beautiful verse. He became the first non European to win the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913. This poem is one of his vastly read and discussed poems. It was originally composed in Bengali and later he himself translated it into English. This poem is in form of his Nobel Prize winning anthology Gitanjali. Tagore lived during the time when the India was ruled by British. In this poem, beside the political freedom from British, Tagore also appealed to the God for social, educational, and economic freedom for the people of India, where the mind is without fear and head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into the fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of the truth, where tireless striving stretches its arm toward perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into a dreary desert sand of dead habits, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into that haven of freedom. My Father, let my country awake. Hello friends, this is Mr. Gautam. Once again, I am in front of you with our online lecture series of 10th standard with a new poem, that is Where the Mind is Without Fear, written by our national poet Rabindranath Tagore. So friends, let's learn the poem. Friends, this is a poem which is in a form of the prayer. The poet has written the poem into a single sentence. The poem is composed into free verse so that it doesn't have a stanza pattern and rhyming scheme there. This poem, the poet expects such an ideal country and he prayed to the God what kind of the country he expected in ideal India. The poem is in form of prayer where the Rabindranath Tagore expects such an idealist country where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where the knowledge is free and where the word has not broken up into the fragments by narrow domestic walls, where the words come out from the depth of the truth, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. In the first line only, the poet expects such a kind of the ideal country that nobody would dominate on another one. So here he expects such a kind of the people that all the people they would be fearless there. They would get without fear, where the mind is without fear and head is held high, so that he wanted to symbolize that each and every citizen of a country would feel a great pride and respect, especially self-respect about owning it. Next line, the poet tells where the knowledge is free. Here is the most important point what Rabindranath Tagore wanted to discuss in front of the God, that there won't be any discrimination to get an education. Knowledge symbolizes the education there. That previous in the ancient India, the particular community had a right only to get an education, and the maximum population of country was deprived to get an education. That brought a many devastating effect to India. Still that we are struggling for that. Second thing, he was discussing about that a pre-independent era of India where the education for people was discriminated between black and white, poor and rich, based on that male and female. Such a kind of the discrimination was there. So you expect that there won't be any kind of the discrimination based on the caste, creed, gender. There won't be any kind of the discrimination between the British and Indian, male and female, poor and rich. And next he beautifully prayed to the God that where the word has not broken up into the fragments, which is the most important thing. That if you see the today's word, that which is divided into that word has not broken, it is divided into the fragments, into the various parts. Now based on the caste, creeds, politics and rest of other things are there. You can see that the reason wise religious way the word has been divided there. So one religion stands against another religion. So we can say that there is a violence between two religions, two caste, two creeds, two communities. For that reason, he expects that the where the word has not broken up to into the fragments, where he expects such a kind of the ideal country which would be united, which ideal country expect that which would not be broken up into that fragments by the narrow domestic walls. So that he wanted to indicate that his country which should be united one, which would not divide based on the caste, religion, community. Between that there would be a division between societies. Here especially he wanted to indicate then about Bengal partition. It was in a 1905. The reference of the Bengal partition was there, which was the Bengal region was divided on the two parts, that was the East Bengal and West Bengal, which was a Muslim majority one, another one was a Hindu majority one, to weaken the freedom movements against Britishers. That was a political reference what he gave there. He expected such a kind of ideal country where there won't be such a kind of the political division, religious division, cultural division, or linguistic division, where he expected a one country, a one community, and one nation. Next line, the poet expects such an ideal country where the words come out from the depth of the truth. Here, from the depth of the truth, this phrase he used to indicate that the people would speak sincerely from their heart, that everybody would be transparent to each other, everybody can believe on each other, and with the trust and belief they can go for the cooperation and coordination without cheating, without defeating each others. So he expects such a kind of the ideal country that everybody will speak sincerely from the bottom of the heart with each other. So it is indicated that where the words come out from the depth of truth. So friends, let's turn to the first lines of poetic devices. As I told you that the poem which is written in a free verse, so there are no rhyming words, no rhyming scheme, but somewhere we can find some figures of speech there. So the first figure of speech, let's go for that, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where the knowledge is free, where the word has not broken up into the fragments. If you notice that all these three sentences, three lines, you can see that which are started with the same word, where. Okay. To bring a special poetic effect, when the poet brings the same words, a repetition of that more than one word, in that case the figure of speech occurs in the line that is anaphora. The next line, poet prays to the god for such an ideal country where the tireless stream stretches its arm toward perfection. Here in this line he expects such a kind of coordination, cooperation from his countrymen, which would be that such country that all the citizens, all the countrymen of his this country would do the continuous, tireless streaming stitches its arm. Through this line, poet wanted to indicate he expects such a kind of the ideal country where all the countrymen of this country would do the continuous and consistent efforts to bring the goal or to achieve the goal in a perfect manner. So here is talk about that a tireless streaming stretches its arms toward perfection to bring the perfect goal where all the people, all the countrymen of this country would unitedly struggle and do the work to achieve the goal with perfection. He expects such an ideal country where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way. Here he expected all the educated mind, all the developed mind, all the minds which think about in the well-being of country that they should have the clear thinking of reason, a positive thinking, the clear thinking where that other unnecessary things would not dominate on their mind. Their mind would be transparent, love for each other, there would not be a hate among each others. Where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into a dreary desert sand of dead habits. In his life, the poet expects such a kind of the countrymen in his ideal country where they would not lose the positive thinking and there would not be a dominance of such a dairy desert, such a customs, rituals which are harmful for the society, which makes the division between humanity, between genders, between the caste and creeds. So he described such a rituals as well as the customs which are harmful for modern society. He described that the dairy deserts sand of dead habits. So he discussed about that these are the dead habits which are not good for the health of ideal country, for the modern country, which are greatly harmful for modern India. Dead habits which are in a form of the traditional rituals, customs which are harmful for a modern ideal India which not dominated on mindset of modern Indians. So he expect about that by saying that where the clear stream of reason, where there will be a clear thinking. So automatically such harmful rituals, we would say that traditional rituals and customs would not dominate on their mind. Today also we can see that the present ideal India, many examples are there when the people who learn all the life scientific attitude, scientific way, but still that their minds are clearly under the influence and the dominance of such a traditional rich and rituals. Even the great scientists are there, many people are there, they do not go. Friends, let me add two examples of modern India. What a point of view that a national poet Rabindranath Tagore had 100 years back. He told about that there should not be any influence of such a dead habits on the clear thinking. Still that in this we can clearly notice in modern India when the Rafales arrived in India they were offered the green chili and lemon under their tires. The scientists of ISRO, including the chief of ISRO, they practice the puja first before launching the Mangalyaan. So friends, let's go for the poetic devices of these lines are there. Here it's clearly mentioned about that where a tireless streaming stretches. If you see that here that a So consonant sound is repeated there. That is in this line where a tireless striving stretches its arm toward perfection. The figure of speech occurs, that is alliteration. If we go for the next line, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way. Okay, to lose a way is human quality which is offered to the clear thinking. Clear stream of reason is clear thinking. So here the clear thinking is personified to lose the way. So in this line where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way, figure of speech occurs personification. The same line, if you continue further into a dreary desert sand of dead habits. To be a dead, it's a person quality. Okay. And the habits are personified with to be to die. To die. So figure of speech in next one, if it is also there. Personification, because the habits are personified with the human quality, that is to be dead. In these last three lines of the poem, the poet prayed to the god and requesting him that such a kind of the country and the countrymen where the mind is led forward by thee. Thee means you. Here he requests to the god. He requests to the god that all the mind with the positive energy in positive mindset should be led and energized by the God. Here, that's why he expects from the God, he begged to the God, where the mind is led forwarded by thee into ever. What kind of the things he expected? That into ever widening thoughts and action. Here he expects that the minds of the countrymen should led by the God with the ever widening. Here means ever widening thoughts and action. It means that ever widening outlook, or we can say the broad outlook and attitude in their thoughts and in their actions. So here he expects from the God that the God should let their minds toward the broad outlook in their actions and in their thoughts. Again, he requested to the God in the same way where the mind is led forwarded into that haven of freedom. He expects such a kind of the freedom. There will be a freedom of the words, freedom of the speech, freedom of the prayer. Next, he addresses the God. My Father, he addressed to the God, I can say addresses to the God. My Father, let my country away. In the last important sentence is very symbolically he used about that, so that God should help his countrymen to get up from all to awaken to enlight. Many social evils are there in our country: social discrimination, poverty, illiteracy, health, unemployment, and rest of other problems are there. So he prayed to the God, let awake our countrymen from their problem and to rise unitedly to overcome with all this the darkness of a night which are being a strain on our brightened country. The poem, which was ended symbolically by praying to the God to enlighten, to strengthen, and to give the power to overcome with all those the evils, social evils, religious evils, and cultural evils of our country, and let them unitedly stand to develop an ideal country with positive thinking beyond all the traditional rich and rituals. So friends, let's go for the poetic devices in last three lines. If you go for this one, here is where the mind is laid forward by thee to ever widening thought and action into that haven of freedom, my Father. But it is addressed in the line. In that case, the figure of speech occurs, that is apostrophe. In same line, if you go for that, no, let my country awake. When the one word represents synecdoche because this one word country represent all the countrymen. So here one represent the whole. So friends, hope so you enjoyed that. Today we have learned about that what kind of the ideal country Rabindranath Tagore expected 100 years ago. So it is a time to think ourselves deeply whether we are trying to fulfill the dreams of our great souls like Rabindranath Tagore, or we are shattering and breaking their dreams at every step of our with the wrong decisions. It's time for you, to me, and everybody to think about it. Thank you for watching.